Okay, good afternoon. I just wanted to bring up to everybody's attention here what the Calgary Police Service is at this point at our in-car camera project. We're going to be rolling out some new technology for us, which is to improve public safety and officer safety. A 3-year pilot project that we've been working on here at the Calgary Police Service to install digital cameras into approximately 350 cars is now going to take place, and it's going to be ending in approximately 2014 once we've completed the installation. The following, we did a request for a proposal to see which in-car camera would best suit the Calgary Police Service, and what we've come up with is the Panasonic Arbitrator 360 is the one that Calgary Police Service feels is best suited for our needs. We have approximately 200 cameras at this point that we've ordered for 2012 and 2013, and we're going to be installing them in 200 of the marked units and unmarked units on the street, and also the 2 HAWCS helicopters will have the same in-flight type system where it's a wireless download once they land the aircraft. At approximately 2014, we'll be finishing up with the other 150 cars for a total again of 350 units. The cameras themselves, the way we've got them set, they will automatically record when the officer activates his emergency lights. There's also a wireless mic that the officer wears, and with that wireless mic, he is able to capture audio for approximately 1,000 feet away from his vehicle. He'll be able to activate the camera and be able to capture audio within about 10 feet of the radius of where he or she is standing. These mics will be worn by the officers on all occasions and will be worn when they're dealing with the public until the conclusion of the dealings with the public. The footage that is captured by these cameras will be stored within the Calgary Police Service for evidence in civil or criminal proceedings, also for investigations through PSS, which is our public complaints system. The cost of the program is approximately $2 million at this point. Any questions?
If you have a district unit and there's 2 officers in it, will both of them be attached to the camera or just one of them?
2. Because of the technology that we're using with the Panasonic, there is the ability for both officers to be wearing the body-worn mics, and it will select conversations on both sides, so you'll hear both conversations. And there's also a microphone that's built into the police car, so when you get a prisoner in the back seat of the police car for transportation, then you'll be able to hear the prisoner. If it was a case where you have an impaired driver back there, if there's a charter or a caution, that type of thing, you'll be able to hear all that conversation also.
You already have some vehicles that capture it. How effective is that in court?
It's been quite effective. On a lot of occasions, you get evidence of an impaired driver driving down the street, and we've had it where the impaired drivers have hit the curbs, gone up on the sidewalk. Now, a police officer's description of that is good. This supplements the officer's notes. It doesn't replace his or her notes, it just supplements it. But when you see a video in court, we use a description, if a picture tells 1,000 words, a video tells 1,000,000 words. When you watch that video on a 42-inch monitor in the courthouse and you see an impaired driver drive up on a sidewalk or go through a red light and strike another vehicle, it goes a long way in court for evidence.
When we talk about officer safety, once people are aware that they could be, all their interactions with police are potentially recorded, what do you think it will do so far as increasing officer safety or deterring crime?
Well, I can talk from personal experience that when an accused is at a vehicle or just even a traffic violation, when they look back and they see the red light from the camera, which can be activated on or off, they see the light and they know they're being recorded. The chances of myself being attacked by the accused or the accused running off, we've already got them on video, whether it's a stolen vehicle that they've stopped. You can see everything. It becomes transparent, what the officer's doing, what the accused is doing at that point. And just the video alone, knowing that you've been caught on video, it's like going into a 7-Eleven and there's a camera right there staring you. The chances of someone robbing that store are a lot slimmer. The video itself, it helps a lot. Keeps the officer safe and keeps the public safe.
How long will this footage be kept for?
Sorry?
How long will the footage be kept for?
It'll be kept for, it varies. There's a number of, if it's a violation ticket, it's kept for a shorter time than if it would be a homicide that we would be investigating, where we'd be transporting a prisoner, or a fatal collision that's happened directly in front of the police vehicle. The way the system works is it's got a built-in pre-record. So if you arrived at an intersection and a fatal collision did happen directly in front of you, you could simply push the record button, and then it saves that last 30 seconds of the event. So myself at the North Service Center, which is close to Deerfoot Mall, I drive 2 blocks away. If something happens, I hit record. I get myself leaving my office still, because that's how far it goes back for the evidence.
So almost every interaction between frontline officers, be they traffic or patrol, is going to be recorded?
That's correct. As soon as the units get installed, and the officers that we've dealt with so far in the traffic section on the pilot project, they're more than happy to take the camera cars out, and if something's not working equipment-wise, they want it replaced. They want the body-worn mics to be working so that they can capture the interaction with the public. There's a number of occasions where there is false allegations against police officers that have gone to PSS, and what's happened in the end, PSS makes a phone call for the complainant to come down. We have it on video, the entire event. Please come down and watch it and lodge your complaint. And usually people will then hang up the phone, and that'll be the end of the complaint. They don't want to go any further, because now they know they've been caught in their lie and it's been recorded. And it protects the officers, it protects the public.
Also, question in regards to with this footage and you're making an arrest, is there an obligation to tell the people they're being recorded, or is that just part of the...
No, there's no requirement to tell the people that they are being recorded. When you're under investigation in the presence of the police, there's no obligation, or there's no expectation of privacy at that time. It's the same as if we entered into a dwelling house where there was a domestic going on, or we got a 911 call. If we go in there and we're the police and we're recording the audio portion, and the video camera's facing the front of the house, that audio portion is picked up. There's no expectation of privacy.
Because I know that, like with the city cameras that are outside, just in the general streets, you may find signs saying caution, this area is being recorded, so you don't have to follow that.
No, we don't. The city, they put it up as a kindness. If someone rips down the signs, then the taxpayers would get more signs put up. And now if we spend the money and put it up in all the police vehicles, it costs a lot of money to the taxpayers, and it's not required, so we're not going to take that step forward. We tell people, you know, at the point, that, you know, if you're under arrest, this is being recorded, back seat, front seat, all that, and the events have been recorded. A lot of times it makes a difference. Some people, they don't care either way. So.
Can you compare to, just anecdotally, to other Canadian jurisdictions, or most municipal police agencies have cameras in their vehicles?
Some of the larger cities do. Toronto has the same type of system. The Panasonic, York, Peel, that type of thing. They have the Panasonic system also. Edmonton, I believe, has nothing at this point, but are looking into getting a video system in their vehicles.
And when you talk about coverage, so far as like building structures go, police officers do go to a domestic and then they go inside a building. So far as distance and physical barriers, is it still going to pick up the audio? Yeah, the audio portion will pick up for approximately 1,000 feet, and that's to activate the camera. If you say stopped your car in the street and walked into this building and an incident happened in here, and you wanted to activate your camera, you could, which would of course activate the audio portion too, that you could record an incident. The farther you get through the building, obviously there's less and less. So through a building, you know, it can be up to 500 feet. But for downtown, and if I use the example of 133 6th Avenue Southeast, our old police building downtown, I was on the 3rd floor of the basement, and I was able to activate the system, and the police car was parked out front of the building. So from there I was able to, a lot of concrete there, but still. And if you go on into the building with the mic activated, you know, but we've had it before with foot chases, stolen vehicles dumped, and a foot chase down an alley, and the officer was about 1.5 blocks away around houses, and he was still able to call it where he was, his location, that he had arrested one bad guy and there was another one still on foot. So good coverage on that. Not only on his portable mic that is throughout the service, the beat mic,
but also on the in-car portion it was recorded, because when you're running, you're not always able to push the little mic and talk, so that way it's all recorded.
But is the officer mandated to turn on the equipment, or is it automatic and he has no control over it?
He's mandated to turn it on. It's if it was running all the time, the cost would be phenomenal at trying to store video for years and years, from the start of the shift to the end of the shift, and then of course the next vehicle pulling out. The cost would be phenomenal, because it's not so much the recording on the dash, it's how long do you retain it for, and that storage facility. That's big money. So in our policies, it's written that the officer who is going to operate an in-car camera unit has to be trained on that particular unit and the in-car camera system, not only in the car, but also the infrastructure in the back end, so that they can download or have the information downloaded and get it to court. They also have to be aware of the policies that state that they have to carry the body-worn mic if you're operating that vehicle, and you have to also, once completed any interaction with the public, then you can turn it off. But you have to record the entire interaction with the public, whether it's an accused person or just the public you're dealing with in general.
And is that, so you say when the lights come on, the camera's activated, but when the lights don't come on, it's up to the individual officer, but he's mandated under policy to turn on that camera or the mic, irrespective of the nature of the call?
That's correct. If you were, say, on Deerfoot Trail and the officer was following a vehicle that was speeding, as soon as he activates the light, the vehicle's going to slow down. But if he's watching if it's an impaired driver and he's going to watch it for another 2 more lane changes, he can hit the record button, and that will automatically start the recording also, or hit the mic, his wired mic or his body mic that he's wearing. He can hit the button on there too and activate it. There's a number of ways to activate it.
But what about in non-traffic calls? You come up to a sidewalk, there's a dispute, you exit the car, go up to the individual. Are you mandated?
That's correct.
No matter who it is?
It's a dispute at this time. Police intervention may be required. So, and if in a case where the way the video is stored, if it's a case where nothing ever happens from that, nobody complains to PSS about the officer's actions, these 2 people say, you know, I'm from a different city and I just want to go home, and they find their way home and nothing ever becomes of it, that video will drop off the system after its predisposed amount of time.
And does it have to be a call that the officer is directed to?
No.
By dispatch, or he just pulls it?
It can be on view also. There's a lot of on view calls, but as soon as it's an on view call, the officer will call and tell dispatch, and she'll most likely send it back up in that direction. You're just not sure what's going on there yet. So
2-part questions. It doesn't make it look like I'm asking so many. So the first part is, do you think that this will lead to more convictions? And if so, what sort of law? And the second part, this costs $2 million, so I'm wondering if there's any cost savings that you anticipate occurring from this?
Well, some of the cost savings is early case resolution through court. Again, if an officer is someone in the traffic section who works check stop, charges 10 people with impaired in a week, and say 8 of those plead guilty now as opposed to 2 before, that's going to save the courts a lot of money, and it's also going to save the officer time in the courtroom, and that time is going to be spent back on the street. So it's like getting an officer back on the street as opposed to sitting in the court. The same with traffic violations or domestic informations. If these people know that it's been totally recorded, and you know, they were drunk at the time, now they're sober, and their lawyer says, you know, we're going to make a deal on this or plead guilty to this because that's just the way I think it should go. If the lawyer advises them that, then that's the way it goes, and then that officer again is back out on the street, not having to sit into a courtroom. And if you get a case where there's 5 or 6 officers involved, there's the identification section. K9 might have been involved, TAC might involved, also HAWCS might have been involved. All of those officers, the helicopter, all that equipment is now going to be back where it should be, responding to calls for service immediately.
What about situations where unfortunately ASRE has to be called in and stuff like that? Do you think that this may help to show what happened?
Yes, it will, because it has already. On a number of occasions, And I can't go into details because some of them are still in the court process, or not loosely into the court process at this point. One where an officer was attacked and used his baton in a situation, and it became very serious very fast. And there was a complaint against the officer, and ASRE looked at the video and made their decisions based on what they saw in the video and the audio portions that they saw, and ASRE had no concern. And there was another, I believe it was an officer-involved shooting, and ASRE looked at that one also. And again, ASRE looked at the video, and the video is transparent. What happened on the video there. And if, again, 1,000,000 words compared to 1,000 words, right? Shows everything.
A point of clarification, and you might have asked this already. So there currently are no cameras, and these are going in, or there are old cameras and these are replacing?
Yeah, these are replacing the cameras that we had before.
Okay.
And it was, again, a pilot project that we had started. We tried a number of different cameras. We found this camera was the best suited for the Calgary Police Service. And we presently have 6 installed at this point, and they're installing at approximately 1 a day. Again, we're working on the traffic section now and the 2 helicopters, and from there we're going to be expanding to the North District, which is, for those who know the districts at all, is the old 7 District is now going to be the North District, and that's where they're expanding to.
So when do you anticipate all vehicles will have them?
2014 is when we anticipate hopefully all 350 vehicles are installed by that time. Keep in mind the way we operate, again, we try not to, we're not throwing money away. If there's a vehicle that's ready to be miled out in 20,000 kilometers, we won't install a camera in that unit. We'll wait for the new unit to come out, and it'll come from the install. At that point, that saves ripping the vehicle apart twice. So it takes a little longer when you work on that, on that type of situation.
What about also training? Like, this is also maybe an opportunity to get for the sergeant and some above to give feedback to some of the officers about maybe you should have this a little different, or is that a possibility that you
Yes,
also get?
it is. There's a number of occasions where officers have used the system already and made mistakes. Officers are human too. We call it doing something that's less desirable. And from that, they learn. If you learn from your mistakes or doing something less desirable, then that's beneficial. It's not only beneficial to that individual officer, but beneficial to the entire service, so that it doesn't happen again. And if it needs something to be changed in our training programs, then that's what we strive for.